Hello everyone. I work at a building that is the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services building in Washtenaw County. A couple weeks ago I got an interesting question when I was talking to a MDHHS employee named Sarah Aurelio. And Sarah Aurelio, like most women who work for the state of Michigan, is, amazing. Conversation, I mentioned I have a YouTube channel, and she honestly asked me what that meant. And it's a good question. So for those of you who don't know, YouTube is owned by Google. And of course, Google is one of the many companies under the umbrella of the, Alphabet Corporation. That's literally what it's called. It's Alphabet. That owns Google and all its subsidiaries and everything like that. And so if you have a Google account, you actually have a YouTube account as well. So, but I thought I would answer the question on what is it to have a YouTube channel. Well, generally it means you're creating content. So I decided to do just a video for her about, what does it mean to be, a content creator. And yeah, I do the whole shebang myself. Every video you've seen, it's me using my own camera, my own editing skills that are self-taught, and so on and so forth. So I thought I'd just make a video, try to get this in under 10 minutes of how I go about doing that. I'm going to break that into, pretty much hardware and software and why I choose to use the platforms I do. So first is the cameras. I have three. There's the, I'll show them to you. There's the Nikon Coolpix 1000, great telephoto capabilities. There's the Sony ZV-E10, that's a great hybrid camera, so if you want to do still photography, and also if you wish to do filmmaking. And then the real workhorse is my Pixel 7. So then we get into tripods, of which I have two. As you can see here, the Penro, that's the one with the blue, that's kind of what you would consider the heavy duty, or what I would call a professional tripod, if you will. Yeah, that's the one you'd want to take outside. It's even got a hook so it can be weighted down. And the other sort of all black one was a very cheap one I got. Not a bit more, way more flimsy, you could say, and generally I don't go outside with it. And I have a smartphone adapter. You can see that in my hands, in this clip right here. And it adjusts, and voila! Look at how wide that can get. It pretty much will fit any smartphone. It might even fit some tablets. And as for the cheap tripod I mentioned, mostly when you see it, it's going to be, like this. It's just going to be on a tabletop and used to hold my Pixel 7. That's what I'm on now. Audio. I only really own one microphone, and you can see it here. It's what you call a lavalier, or what some people call a lapel, or a tie mic. And yeah, it's right here. And this fits, most of my needs. Now, of course, I can't conclude any conversation about hardware without talking about my MacBook Air. Edited over 160 videos on it last year. This year, I'm almost, I think, at 30. It really does a good job. Now, I know some people have a problem with Apple and Mac products in general. They feel they're overpriced for similar specs. Now, there are two things I want you to consider about that. First of all, if you can make a comparable product to your competitors, and if for whatever reason you can sell it at a higher cost, that's how the game is. That's capitalism right there. So, at the end of the day, does this device you purchase do what you need it to do? Now, the second thing is, I'm going to go through a list of about 4 software that you get when you purchase any Mac. and that you can create content with. Okay, so the very first one is obviously iMovie. iMovie is a video editor, and you can more or less think of it as a free version of the Apple Final Cut Pro. It's got some limitations on what it can do, but there's actually dozens of ways to sort of more or less hack the system and overcome those limitations. You have QuickTime Player. Anytime I record my screen, QuickTime Player is what I use. Now, QuickTime Player can also act as a video editor, but it is extremely limited. More often than not, you end up just taking whatever video you did in QuickTime and importing it into iMovie so you can do the cuts or edits there. I use the term cut even though, because it goes back to physical film, when you would literally cut out portions of the physical film. I know that's not done anymore, but that's still how I talk. So you've got those two. And then you have an application known as Keynote. Now, I know some of you who are familiar with Keynote are going to say, isn't, Keynote just Apple's version of PowerPoint? And it is, but there are some very useful ways you can use Keynote to export files and then put them into a video editor. For instance, when you saw that collection of cameras I have, the 3 cameras, what you saw there with the arrows popping up is those were actually done in Keynote and then exported as a TIFF or TIFF file and then put into iMovie. So it's actually a pretty good and useful tool. And again, once you start getting familiar with all these applications, you can use them in some interesting ways. And the final one that I mentioned that I think a lot of people might be surprised about is Preview. Preview is really just a way to edit pictures, but nevertheless, you can use it to do some cool video stuff. Okay, and this clip right here is me imagining what U.S. forces could do and our allies if there was an attack on Taiwan by China. Should we have a first line of defense plan, which assumes we know of the attack somehow and can stop it? It's, Taiwan and China are about 130 miles apart, so they could do a swift attack. Or should we just have a secondary line? And, so Preview is good for that. So that's pretty much about it. So all you really need to do to become a content creator is the camera, the microphone, the computer, and its applications, and the tripod. That's all you need. That is not all you will want. I'm going to quote a psychiatrist who made a funny joke about women and handbags. And Versace and Gucci handbag prices may be out of the reach of a lot of women, but that doesn't stop them from wanting it. You're going to want more gear. The next purchase I intend to make is, a very good audio recorder. Because, when you start this, you're all about cameras and video, but, people will watch bad video if it has good audio. They will seldom watch decent video if the audio is extremely bad. Either way, thank you.